Hello friends, welcome to the session on C++ programming language. In this session, we'll be discussing about operator overloading in C++ programming language. In this session, initially we will understand what we mean by operator overloading. Then we will see what is the procedure to overload a operator. Then we will see what is the operator function, what is the syntax of the operator function. And then we will see the examples of overloading unary operator and binary operator in C++ program. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel Learn with Prakash Kanade, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel to see more videos on the subjects of electronics and computer science. So we will start the session with the question what we mean by operator overloading. We know that in C++ we can make the use of polymorphism. Polymorphism is widely used in C++ programming language. Poly, that will stand for many, morphism, that will stand for forms. Polymorphism means many forms. In C++, polymorphism is of two types. The first category is being called as a compile time polymorphism, and another category is being called as a runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism can be achieved by using either function overloading or operator overloading. Runtime polymorphism can be achieved by making the use of virtual functions. Already we have discussed what we mean by function overloading. In this session, we'll be discussing about the operator overloading. Operator overloading is a compile time polymorphism that is used in C++ programming language. Overloading an operator means giving an additional meaning to the operator so that the same operator can be used with user-defined data types. We know that C++ is a very rich language as far as its operators are concerned. There is a rich set of operators in C++ programming language. All such operators can be used with default data types or the data types that are readily available with the C++ compiler. It is also possible that we can define some new data types in C++ program. Such data types are being called as user-defined data types. All such operators in C++ program can also be used with user-defined data types. Say for example, a binary operator such as plus can be used for the addition of integer. The same operator can also be used for addition of complex numbers or for addition of two vectors. When we achieve this, then this is being called as an operator overloading. Almost all operators in C++ can be overloaded, but there are only 4 exceptions. These 4 operators cannot be overloaded in C++, and those operators are conditional operator, scope resolution operator, size of operator, and class member access operator. When we overload the operator, then actually what we are doing is that we are extending the semantics of the operator. When we extend the semantics of the operator, observe that the syntax of using the operator will remain the same. For example, when a plus operator is used for the addition of the two numbers, then we know that one number we will write first, then we will write the plus operator, and then we will write the second number. This semantics, this syntax of using the operator will remain there even if we are using two complex numbers or even if we are adding two complex numbers. Similarly, whenever I want to add two vectors, then in that case also, you need to use the operator in the same way. So the syntax of using operator will remain the same while the semantics will be extended. When the operator is overloaded, then its original meaning is not lost. For example, suppose we have overloaded a plus operator, then we know that this plus operator can be used for addition of integers. This original meaning will remain there even if you overload the operator. When plus operator is overloaded for addition of vectors, then it still can be used for the addition of integers. Now we will go for the process of overloading the operator. In the first step, you need to create a class. The class is a kind of user-defined data type, and that you want to make the use in the operator overloading. In the second step, declare the operator function in the public part of the class. It can be either a member function of a class, or it can be a friend function of a class. The operator function can be used in two ways. Either you can make it as a member function of a class, or you can make it a friend function of a class. Then you need to define operator function to implement the required operation. You need to write down the steps in the operator function that are needed to implement the operations. For unary operators, overloaded operator function can be invoked by an expression such as operator X or X operator, where X is the argument. If the operator that is being overloaded is unary, that is, it has only one operand, in such a case, you can invoke the operator function by making the use of operator followed by the argument, or argument followed by the operator. In case of binary operators, overloaded operator function can be invoked by writing the expression such as X operator Y. In case of binary operator, we know that there are two operands. One operand has to be written first, then we write the operator, and then the second argument we write afterwards. In case of binary operators, whenever we write a statement X operator Y, then the overloaded operator function will be automatically invoked by the compiler. These are the steps that are needed to be carried out whenever you want to overload operator. Now let us see how the member operator function can be created. In order to overload the operator, it is mandatory for us to create a operator function. The syntax for creating the operator function is like this. Initially, you write down the return type of the function. Then you need to write down the class name. Then you need to write down the scope resolution operator. Then you need to write down the operator that you want to be overloaded. You need to write down, first of all, the keyword operator. After that, you need to write down the operator that you want to overload it. And then in the bracket, you need to write down the argument list. And in the curly bracket, we write down the task to be defined, that is the number of statements which are defined in the function body. The return type is the type of the value that is being written by the operation. Most of the time, you will observe that an object is written, but the return type can be any valid data type. Most of the time, you will find that we overload the operator for some user-defined data types. And therefore, most of the time, the object is written, but it can be any valid data type. In this syntax, you note that this word operator is a keyword. In this syntax, we will not make the use of class name and the scope resolution operator if the operator function is defined inside the class. It is possible that you can define this operator function either within the class or outside the class. If you write this operator function outside the class, then in such a case, it is mandatory for you to write down the class name and scope resolution operator. But if you are defining the operator function only within the class, then there is no need of writing the class name because you are in class only, and the scope resolution operator also need not to be used. The operator that is to be overloaded is written after the operator. So after the operator keyword, we write the operator symbol which we want to overload. Say for example, if you want to overload plus operator, then we will write here a plus operator. If you want to overload a slash operator, then you need to write down a slash operator. The unary operator such as unary plus, when it is to be overloaded, then the argument list will be empty. Observe that if your operator is a unary operator, then you did not to write any argument. If your operator is a binary operator such as slash operator, then the argument list will contain only one argument, and that will be the right hand side argument. Observe that the left hand side argument will be passed implicitly, means automatically, to the function. You need not to pass it explicitly. Only the right hand side argument has to be passed explicitly. And therefore, whenever you overload a binary operator, then you need to write one argument over here, and that is the right hand side argument. And whenever you overload a unary operator, then this argument list will be empty, that it will contain only empty bracket. For example, suppose I'm having a class complex. So I can write a return type complex. The class name is complex, then the scope resolution operator, then the operator keyword, then the operator symbol, say plus, and suppose this is my unary plus, and therefore I will keep this argument list empty. So such type of the statement will tell the compiler that you are overloading a unary plus operator for the class complex, of which the return type is also a complex object. Now we will go for the first example, and in this example we will overload a unary operator first. Suppose this is the program. Initially we have included input output stream header file using the namespace standard. In this example, we have declared a class distance, and this class has two private members, feet and inches, and both are of the type integer. Initially we will write the constructor for the class. This is a parameterized constructor where we will pass the values of f and I, where f will be assigned to feet and I will be assigned to inches. Then we will make the use of one additional function which will display the content of the class, and in that function we will write a statement for display cout, where the value of feet and the value of inches will be shown on the screen. Then we will overload a minus operator here. So this is a unary operator, minus operator, for which I will write a function distance, that is the name of the class. This is the return type of the operator function distance, followed by the keyword operator, followed by the operator symbol minus. And this is a unary operator, therefore there will be no argument list. In this case, observe that we will not write the class name and we will not write the scope resolution operator, because we are defining this operator function only within the class. And in the function body, what we do is that we will change the sign of the feet. So whatever is being the input, that is being changed with the minus sign, and also the sign of the inches is also changed with minus sign. And then we return this value to the caller. Now in the main function, you will observe that we will declare the object variable d1 of the class distance, and we will initialize this object variable by passing the values 11, 10. So as you know that this constructor will be called, f will get the value 11, I will get the value 10. So feet will be assigned 11 and inches will be assigned 10. And then I will apply the minus sign or negation to the object d1. So here you note that d1 is a object variable to which otherwise we cannot apply minus sign, to which otherwise we cannot use this operator minus. But because of the overloading, it is possible that you can apply minus to this d1. And now I will display the feet and inches, and for that I will make the use of display distance. So d1 dot display distance, and then we will return 0 to our main function because our main function is of the type integer. So when you type such program by using any online C++ compiler, and when you run this program or execute this program, then you will find that you will get the output f is equal to minus 11, I is equal to minus 10. So initially you have passed the values, feet is equal to 11 and inches is equal to 10, and they have been negated, and therefore you will get the output as f minus 11, I minus 10. Now we will go for another example, and in this example we will see how the binary operator can be overloaded. In this example, initially we will include the input output stream header file using the namespace standard. In this example, we have taken a class complex. So here we are having a class of complex numbers, and we know that in complex numbers there are two parts. The first one is the real part and the second one is the imaginary part. So the two variables are declared real and imaginary of the type float. Then we will initialize the values of the data members of the class by using the constructor function. Then we have another function, input function, where we can ask the user to input the real and imaginary values, and we will read them through the keyboard, and we will assign them to the variables real and imaginary. Then we will write the operator function. Observe that this is a return type of the operator function complex. This is the operator keyword, and here also we are making the use of binary operator. So this is our binary operator. So we are making the subtraction by using the binary operator minus, and here we have passed one argument. So as I told you that in case of binary operator, you need to write one argument in the operator function, and this is the complex C2. Then we will declare one temporary object variable, and then we will assign to the real part of this temporary object variable real minus C2 dot real, and to the imaginary part imaginary value minus C2 dot imaginary, and then we will return this value to the caller. Then we are defining another function, and this is the output function, and in this function we will check whether the value of imaginary part is less than 0. Then accordingly you will find that if the value is less than 0, then we will write the negation sign. If the value is positive, then we will write the positive sign in the output display by using these cout statements. In the main function, we have declared two object variables C1, C2, and another object variables result. So all these C1, C2, and result are the object variables of the class complex. Initially, we will ask the user to enter the first complex number, and then we will display or we will read the first input by using the function c1 dot input. Then we will display the user a message to enter the second complex number, and then we read the user input to the object variable c2 by using the function c2 dot input. Then we will assign a result is equal to c1 minus c2. So in this statement, you can observe that here we are actually subtracting the two complex numbers. The first complex number is c1, the second complex number is c2, and the result of which is being assigned to the complex number result. So this is possible because we have overloaded the minus operator for the class complex. And then finally, we will display the result by using the function result.output. And we return 0 to our main function because our main function is of the type integer. So when you type such program by using any C++ compiler, and when you execute it online, then you will get the result like this. Initially, you will be asked to enter the first complex number, real and imaginary part. Suppose I have entered 12 and 23. Then you will be notified to enter the second complex number, real and imaginary part. Suppose I have entered 21 and 22. And then finally, you will get the result, that is minus 9 plus 1i. So friends, hopefully you have understood what we mean by operator overloading and how to overload a unary operator and binary operator in C++ programming language. Thank you for viewing the session. If you have any queries, then you can write to me or you can ask the questions in our oral discussions.